Good morning, Facebook family and friends. I know it's real early in the morning. It's about, or it's almost 2 o'clock. On a fun note, sorry, a little winded, just trying to get everything set up. Uh, it's probably see on Facebook that today's my birthday. Well, guess what? It's wrong. It is not my birthday. So I'm not getting any older because I can't afford to lose any more hair that's on top of my head and have it on my face or my back or anywhere else in my body. My head just can't hold it up anymore. I just can't afford to get older and lose more hair. So I'm not. So don't wish me a happy birthday. I'm already old enough. Now let's get down to some serious business. We're going to go back to Psalm. The Book of Proverbs. We're going to go back to the Book of Proverbs, chapter 15. I'm going to pick up where we left off on chapter 15, verse 1. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, behold the evil and the good. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perver- perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. A fool despiseth his father's instruction, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent. In the house of the righteous is much treasure, but in the righteous, but in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. The lips of the wise disperse knowledge, but the heart of the foolish doth not so. That doeth not so. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. The way of the wicked is an abomination unto the Lord, but loveth him that followeth after righteousness. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. Hell and destruction are before the Lord. How much more than the hearts of the children of men? A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise. A merry heart maketh a cheerful contents, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. The heart of him that hath understanding seeketh knowledge, but the mouth of fools feedeth on foolishness. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that is of merry heart hath continual feast. Better is little with the fear of the Lord than great treasures and trouble therewith. Better is dinner of herbs, where love is installed, ox and hatred therewith. A wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife. The way of the slothful man is an hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain. Verse 20, chapter 15, verse 20. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish man despiseth his mother. Folly is joy to him that is destitute, destitute destitute of wisdom, but a man of understanding walketh uprightly. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors they are established. A man hath joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season. How good is it? The way of life is above the wise, that he may depart from hell beneath. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. The heart of the righteous student to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. The light of the eye rejoiceth in the heart, and a good report maketh the bones fat. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. Let's go back to chapter 15, verse 1. We're going to look at a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So instead of, basically what it's saying, instead of being instead of answering in anger, speak softly, not in wrath, and a lot of times that will turn away words of anger from people that are angry. And for a good example, our church has been under attack by the neighbors because we also hold a Spanish church, and there's a lot of people that are racist around our church that despise the Spanish, and they're saying the music's played too loud. The pastor's gone out of his way to get the police chief up there with a noise indicator to make sure the volume ain't too, make sure they're not too loud. And without the Spanish church knowing, drove around the neighborhood checking the decimals, and it was within perfect range. This has been going on for quite a while with the neighbors of the church. This past Sunday, I was approached by a man who did not come on the property because I guess the pastor said if he trespassed or got on the property, he'd get him arrested for trespassing on private property. But anyways, he made a major complaint about the noise that they do with their music. All they're doing is praising God, singing and praising God, songs of worship. And yet they despise it because they're Spanish speaking people. And because of the issues with the borders, they're really become very racist. You got a neighbor that's we also have a neighbor that lives right next to the church. He's Spanish, but they don't complain about him, but they do complain about our church. And as long as they worship God, we don't have a problem with the Spanish church being there. They've done nothing wrong. They pay their rent. They have insurance, and yet they're still causing trouble. So, the neighbors are still causing trouble. So, like I said, and I just basically, very nicely, politely explain them. I'll do my best to take care of the situation. And I diffused it without him getting any angrier or getting loud or anything like that. I kept it under control and turned him my way. So, it's a good lesson learned right there. Verse 2, the tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. In this section, the use of knowledge aright or use is skillfully making a desirable. Let's look at verse 4. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but the perverseness therein is a breach of the spirit. Wholesome means healing tree of life. Breach in means better crushing of. Let's look at verse 6. In the house of the righteous is much treasure, but in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. Revenue means, as we know, income. Verse 10. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. Correction is grievous unto means perhaps better, or grievous correction is for. Verse 11. Hell and destruction are before the Lord. How much more then the hearts of the children of men? Hell and destruction in Hebrew means Sheol and Abaddon. The two synonyms have references to the place of dead, the grave. The verse points to God's omniscience, omniscience, and you can check the references on Psalms 139, Psalms chapter 139, verses 7 through 12. Verse 12. A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go into the wise. A scorner shuns the wise because he hates their reproof. Verse 13. A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. Sad thoughts crush the spirit. Verse 15. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that is of merry heart hath continual feast. One's temperament has a considerable effect on one's circumstances. Verse 17. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. Herbs meaning vegetables. Okay. Stalled ox means a fattened ox, a symbol of luxurious food. Verse 18. A wrathful man stirreth up strife. But he that is slow to answer appeaseth strife. Wrathful man means a man of hate, a hot-tempered man. Appeaseth strife means pacifies contention. Verse 19. The way of the slothful man is a hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain. Righteous means upright, or made plain. Is laid out, or is well constructed highway. Verse 21. Folly is a joy to him that is destitute of wisdom, but a man of upstanding walketh uprightly. Wisdom means heart, understanding. Verse 23. A man has joy by the answers of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season. How good is it? How good is it? Sorry, it's not. I keep saying it like it's a question. It's not a question. It ends with an exclamation point. I'll try this again. A man has joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season. How good is it? The answer of his mouth, the appropriate answer. Oh, excuse me. Verse 24. The way of life is above the wisdom, and he may depart from hell beneath. Is above. It means better goes upward. To the wise, better for the wise. Verse 25. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud. He will establish the border of the widow. Border or boundary. In verse 26, the thoughts of the wicked are abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. Better or evil thoughts are of an abomination to the Lord, but pleasant ones are pure. Verse 27. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. Is greedy of gain, means better gains or unjust profit by violence, gifts, or bribes. In verse 28, when it says studieth, means ponder. So if you replace it with ponders, you'll understand it. Might help you understand it better. The hearts of the righteous studieth, or ponders, to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. Verse 30. The light of the eyes rejoiceth the heart, and a good report maketh the bones fat. Light of the eyes means the brightness that shines in the eyes when good news comes. Maketh the bones fat, means invigorates the body. Verse 31. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. Reproof of life means reproof that, if heeded, prolongs life. Verse 32. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. To be unteachable or despise yourself. Now we're going to do verse 6, chapter 16, Proverbs chapter 16. Verses 1 through 9 talks about the topic of these verses is God and his ultimate control over human activity. I'm going to read all of 16, but so you know, verse 1 through 9 talks about the topic of these verses of God and his ultimate control over human activity. Excuse me. The part B, Proverbs of encouraging godly lives. Chapter 16, verses 1 through chapter 22, verse 16. So it's going to be continuing reading here on part B. The preparations of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. The Lord hath made all things to himself, yea, even the wicked for the days of evil. Every one that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Though had joined in hand, he shall not be unpunished. By mercy and truth iniquity is purged, and by fear of the Lord men depart from evil. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be peace with him. Better is a little with righteous than great revenues without right. A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. Chapter 16, verse 10. A divine sentence is the lips of the king, his mouth transgresseth not in judgment. A just weight and balance are the Lord's, all the weights of the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, but the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him that speaketh right. The wrath of a king is as messengers of death, but a wise man will pacify it. In the lights of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to understand rather than chosen than silver? The highway of the upright is to depart from evil. He that keepeth his way preserveth his soul. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better it is to be of an humble spirit with a lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Chapter 16, verse 20. He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he. The wise in heart shall be called prudent, and in the sweetness of the lips increaseth learning. Understanding is a well-spirit of life unto him that hath it, but the instruction of fools is folly. The heart of man teacheth his mouth, and abideth learning to his lips. Pleasant words are as an honeycomb, sweet to the soul, and health to the bones. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. He that laboureth for himself, for his mouth craveth it of him. And the godly man digesteth up evil, and in his lips there is a burning fire. A froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separate chief's friends. A violent man enticeth his neighbour, and leadeth him into the way that is not good. He shutteth his eyes, devise forward things, moving his lips, and bringeth evil to pass. The hoary head is a crown of glory, if it be found in the way of righteousness. He that is slow to anger is better than the might, and he that ruleth the spirit than that taketh a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of the Lord. Okay, let's go back to chapter 16, verse 1. The preparations of the heart in men, and the answers of the tongue is from the Lord. Preparation means plans, or in better belonging to. Man may make plans, but the execution of them, which becomes explicit in speech, fulfills God's designs. In verse 2, all the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. Spirit means moral character or disposition in that verse. In verse 6, chapter 16, verse 3. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Commit means roll. Roll your own burdens on the Lord, although they may cause anxiety, they are not too great for him. And as it says later in the New Testament, Jesus is willing to take your burden on his shoulders. For his yoke is a lot lighter, and he's willing to switch yokes, so you will have less to carry. And he's willing to take your load because he has very strong shoulders to carry. He carries the world on his shoulders. Okay, so don't be afraid to give it to him. Okay? Verse 4. The Lord hath made all things for himself, even the wicked for the day of evil, for himself, or for its in his own purpose, including the wicked for their days of judgment. Verse 5. Every one that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Though hands join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. So the hands join in hand means hands in hand. Look at verse 6. By mercy and truth iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord men depart from evil. Mercy means loyal love, truth means faithfulness, and purge means atoned for. The atonement for man's sin is the result of God's loyal love and faithfulness. The fear of the Lord motivates a man to turn away from sin when he is tempted. That seems a very powerful verse, isn't it? By mercy and truth iniquities is purged, and by the fear of the Lord men depart from evil. Let's take a look at verse 8. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without right. Revenues, as you know, it means income. Right means justice. Verse 10 through 15 means a king's responsibility. And we've already read 10 through 15. Okay, so these next 5 verses is about a king's responsibility. Chapter 16, verse 10. A divine sentence is the lips of the king, his mouth transgresseth not in judgment. Divine sentence. The reference is to the final finality of the king's words. Finality of the king's words. There you go. Because of this, it is necessary that he be careful not to err in judgment. Verse 11. A just weight and balance are the Lord's, all the weight of the bags are his works. Work means affairs. God is concerned with and in opposition to the unfair trade practices. Take a look at verse 14. The wrath of a king is as messengers of death, but a wise man will pacify it. It is wise to pacify a king rather than to defy him. That's true, because you anger a king, he's more likely to retaliate. Verse 15. In the light of the king's countenance is life, in his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain. The latter rain means the rain that falls in the spring assures the ripening of the crops. In other words, the rain in springtime, all that rain helps that. Help those seeds that have been planted to grow, to get it started. Let's look at verse 19. Better is it to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than divide the spoils with the proud. It is better to live humbly with the lowly than to be enriched through improper means with the proud. Chapter 16, verse 21. The wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increaseth learning. Prudent means discerning. Learning means better persuasiveness. Verse 22. Understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that hath it, but the instruction of fools is folly. Wellspring of life means fountain of life, or a source of spiritual vitality. Instruction means training by deed, i.e., discipline. Verse 23. The heart of the wise teacheth his mouth, and it addeth learning to his lips. Learning means better or persuasiveness. Verse 25. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Basically, that repeats 14:12. If you go back, hold your place. Let's go back to chapter 14, verse 12. It says that there's a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Means a shortcut to success may be a false trail, leading to destruction. So you do not want to go down that path, because that short trail means total. You're going to be will lead to death. Verse 26. He that laboureth for himself, for his mouth craveth it of him. Better means the appetite of the laborer works for him, for he urged on by his mouth. And verse 28. A froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends. Whisperer means bitter or backbiter. Chief friends means close friends. Verse 30. He shutteth his eyes To devise forward things, moving his lips, bringeth evil to pass. Shutteth his eyes means winks, moving his lips, conveying an expression of malice without words. Much evil and perversity can be disseminated without a word being spoken. Verse 31. The hoary head is a crown of glory if it is found in the way of righteousness. Hoary means gray. If it be found means better is found. In verse 33, the last verse of chapter 16, it says, the lot is cast into the lap, but the Lord disposing thereof is of the Lord. The whole disposing thereof, better is every decision. God is sovereign over human affairs. What appears to be a chance is really part of God's sovereign design. Now we're going to read chapter 17. Chapter 17. Proverbs chapter 17. Thank you for your copy. I wouldn't be making it tonight. Chapter 17, verse 1. Better is a dry morsel, and the quietness therewith, than a house full of sacrifices with strife. A wise servant shall have rule over a son that causes shame, and shall have part of the inheritance among the brethren. The offending pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord trieth the hearts. A wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue. Verse 5. Whoso mocketh the poor reproach his maker, and he that is glad at calamity shall not be unpunished. Children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children are their fathers. Excellent speech becometh not a fool, much less do lying lips a prince. A gift is as precious stone in the eyes of him that hath it. With whosoever is turneth is prospereth. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth matter separateth very friends. Chapter 17, verse 10. A reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. An evil man seeketh only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. Let a bear robbed of her whelps meet a man, rather than a fool in his folly. Whoso rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is when one letteth out water. Therefore leave off contention before it be mildewed with. Verse 15. He that justifieth the wicked, and he that condemneth the just, even they both are abomination to the Lord. Wherefore is there a price in the hand of a fool to get wisdom, seeing he hath no heart to it? A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. A man of understanding striketh hands, and becometh surety into the presence of his friend. He loveth transgression, that loveth strife, and he that exalted his gate seeketh destruction. Chapter 17, verse 20. He that hath a froward heart findeth no good, and he that hath a preserved tongue faileth into mischief. He that begetteth a fool doeth to his own sorrow, and the father of a fool hath no joy. A merciful heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit driveth the bone. A wicked man taketh a gift out of the bosom to pervert the ways of judgment. Wisdom is before him that hath understanding, but the eyes of a fool are the ends of the earth. Verse 25. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her that bear him. Also to punish the just is not good, nor strike princes for equity. He that hath knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shuttereth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Let's go back to chapter 17, verse 1. Better is a dry morsel, and quietness therewith, than a house full of sacrifices with strife. Sacrifice means feasting, or provided by the family's portion of a peace offering. Verse 2. A wise servant shall have a rule over a son that causeth shame, and shall have part of the inheritance among the brethren. Causeth shame means acts shamefully. Verse 3. The pinning pot is for silver, and the furnace of gold, and the Lord trieth the heart. Pinning means refining. God tests the character, are constructive in their intentions. And you see that in chapter 1. Excuse me, you can see it in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 7, and James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. Take a look at verse 4. A wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, and a liar giveth ears to a naughty tongue. Wicked doer means evil doer, or naughtiness, naughty, better destructive. Take a look at verse 7. Excellent speech becometh not a fool, much less do lying lips a prince. Becometh not a fool means it is not fitting for a fool. Verse 8. A gift is as a precious stone in the eyes of him that hath it. Whithersoever it turneth, it prospereth. A bride may cause a prosper, but the use of such practice is certainly to be condemned. Verse 9. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth the matter separateth very friends. Overlooking an offense may preserve a friendship, but one who takes advantage of such graciousness will cause a friendship to be broken. That is very true. You might try to save a relationship by lying or agreeing with that friend, but in the long run, you're making that friendship harder and harder to maintain because you know that person's in the wrong. Okay? Verse 10. A reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. Entereth more into, descends into, or makes an impression, strikes into, or blows onto. Verse 11. An evil man seeketh only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. An evil man seeketh only rebellion, better a rebellion man seeks only evil. Cruel messenger, i.e., one execute judgment. Verse 12. Let a bear robbed of her whelps meet a man, rather than a fool in his folly. Whelps means cubs. If you replace whelps with cubs, it'll sound like this. Like a bear robbed of her whelps or cubs mean a man, rather than a fool his folly. Verse 13. Whoso rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. Solomon's parents reaped evil because of their treatment of Uriah. And you see that if you read that in in 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 10. Let's take a look at verse 14. The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water, therefore leave of contention, before it be meddled with. Leave of, I mean to bend or be meddled with, or better or breaks out. Verse 16. Wherefore is there a price in the hand of a fool to get wisdom, seeing he hath no heart in it? Wherefore means why. Hath no heart means better or has no understanding. This picture of a fool trying to busy wisdom is satirical, for wisdom cannot be purchased at any price, nor is it received through some mechanical formula, not only by a proper heart Okay, I'm going to reread that because I got tongue-tied. Sorry. This picture of a fool trying to buy wisdom is satirical, for wisdom cannot be purchased at any price, nor is it received through some mechanical formula, but only by a proper heart attitude. There you go. Verse 17. A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. When you're in trouble, you see who your friends are, your real true friends. Okay? Because they're the ones that are most likely to help you when you're in need. It says here, when you are in trouble, you see who your friends are and how helpful a brother can be. Because your real friends will stick around and help you out. Well, you're out of trouble. The ones that are not your friends, they're gonna take out running. They're not really your friends if they stick around when you're in trouble. When you didn't purposely put yourself in a bad situation, your good friends would stay with you, not run off and let you take the heat for someone else's mistake. Okay, verse 18. A man void of understanding striketh hands, and becometh surety into the presence of his friends. Striketh hands means confirms a contract by handshake. Surety, a cosigner, here we go. Surety, a cosigner, one responsible for a debt should the borrower default. Verse 19. He loveth transgression that loveth strife, and he that exalteth in his gate seeketh destruction. He hath a froward. Okay, no, I'm sorry, I got too far. He that loveth the transgression that loveth strife, and he that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. Exalted his gate, a figure referring to opening one's mouth with boastful, arrogant talk. Verse 22. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. Doth good like a medicine, causes good healing. Verse 24. Wisdom is beforehand that hath understanding, but the eyes of a fool are in the ends of the earth. Wisdom is easily accessible to the discerning man, but the fool keeps looking to other interests, never find wisdom. Verse 26. Also to punish the just is not good, nor to strike princes for equity. To punish means to find or just righteousness, princes, noble ones, or equity or upright. Verse 27, He that hath knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is an excellent spirit. The fool is taking this advice is at least less of a fool. Okay, I think I jumped somewhere. Okay, let's go back to verse 26. Okay, no, we're doing 27. He that hath knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of excellent spirit. Spirit restrains excellent means cool or composed. Verse 28. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips as a stern demand of understanding. The fool who takes his advice is at least less of a fool. So instead of thinking like, oh, I know this answer, I know that answer, be humble, keep your mouth shut, and listen. It makes you look less of a fool than if you open your mouth and cause more trouble. Well, we're going to go on to chapter 18. Chapter 18. To desire a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. A fool have no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. When the wicked cometh also contempt, and the ignominy reproach. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the persons of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snares of his soul. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. Now we're in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10. The name of the Lord is a stronger tower. The righteous runneth into it, and is safe. The rich man wealth is his strong city, and as a high wall in his own conceit. Before destruction, the heart of man is hefty, and before honor is humility. He that answereth a matter before the heareth it, it is the folly and shame unto him. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmities, but a wounded spirit who can bear? Verse 15. The heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. A man's gift maketh room for him, and he bringeth him before great men. Verse 17. He that is first in his own cause seemeth just, but his neighbor cometh and searcheth him. The Lord causeth contentions to cease, and parteth between the mighty. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of castle. Chapter 18, verse 20. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 20. A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall be filled. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtain favor of the Lord. The poor use entreaties, but the rich answereth roughly. A man that hath friends must shew himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh close than a brother. Okay, let's go back to chapter 18, verse 1. Though despise a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermediate with all wisdom. Better he who separates himself seeketh his own desire. He breaks out, or quarrels, against the sound of wisdom. Verse 2. A fool hath no delight in the understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. The fool has no desire to learn, but desires only to air his personal opinions. Verse 3. When the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt, and with ignominy reproach. Contempt, dishonor, and reproach are three companions of the wickedness. Verse 4. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom is a flowing brook. Deep waters means obscure, hidden, or flowing brook means clear. Although some men's words are obscure, others are sources of wisdom and convey the clear truth. Verse 5. It is not good to accept the person in the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. Accept the person of means show partially to overthrow or turn aside. Verse 8. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. Wounds means go down. Better morsels greedily swallowed. Hearing gossip, like eating a delicacy, gives you something that others do not have, and it is remembered in the innermost parts. So, one who tall tales are by spreading tall tales of stuff that you supposedly have done, which you haven't done, makes people I I know what it is. I just don't know how to explain that verse. That's a very strong verse, though. The words that we tell there mean someone who talks lies or tall tales are as wounds. And here, wounds means go down, or how another person would accept that message. Okay, hearing gossip, sitting, no offense. All women are the only gossipers in the world. Men are gossipers too. Same thing with women and children. They're all tell lies, tall tales. We're all sinners on this earth. We all lie. We all. That's where it gets complicated. Um, Trying to make yourself look bigger, like you have something that they don't have, and that is not the way we should be. Okay. Verse 9. He also that slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. This great waster means destroyer. So he also that slothful in his work is a brother to him that is a destroyer, is a great destroyer. Chapter 10. Verse 10 of chapter 18. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10. The name of the Lord is a stronger tower. The righteous runneth into it, and it is safe. The name of the Lord is used here for the Lord himself. He is the protector of righteous. He's elevated or above the danger. Verse 11. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and has an high wall in his own conceit. The rich imagines that his wealth can protect him. See means in like his own imagination, his own world. Now, I can use this as an example, and I don't know how well it will go over, but it's the truth. My in-laws used to be poor, like me and my wife. Okay, we're borderline poverty. We're just barely. I mean, right there on the line. Um, that's where they used to be. Now, my father-in-law makes three-digit figures, and it is, and they get in their own little world. Like everyone is like them, and they're not. We're not like them. There are a lot more poor people than they are people in higher middle class, like my in-laws. And I really don't like being looked down upon, and that really gets frustrating. Okay, it's really something I really dislike. Let's look at verse 14. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmities, but a wounded spirit can bear. Okay, the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmities, but a wounded man's spirit who can bear? Sustain his infirmities means better to endure sickness, wounded, or broken. Verse 16. A man's gift maketh room for him that bringeth him before great men. A gift means here a more neutral term than bribe. It refers to an innocent courtesy. A legitimate favor can soothe the way for a person. First Samuel chapter 17, verse 18 as a reference. Verse 17, chapter 18, verse 17 says, He that is first in his own cause seemeth just, but he that neighbours cometh and searcheth him. Cause or case means lawsuit. It is always wise to hear both sides of the story before making a judgment. He that is first in his own cause seemeth just, but his neighbour cometh and searcheth him. That makes perfectly good sense now that I read it. Law meaning the cause or case means lawsuit. It is always wise to hear both sides of the story before making a judgment. The Lot, chapter verse 18. The Lot causeth contentions to cease and parteth between the mighty. The decision of the Lot separates opponents and allows for harmony to be restored. Verse 19. A brother offended are harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. Bars of a castle means a barrier of friendly relations. Verses 20 and 21. A man's belly shall satisfy with fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. A man's tongue can yield satisfaction, life, or death. Those who are prone to use the tongue must take the consequences of the words. So it's basically what it's telling you to tell the truth. Okay, don't lie. Because in the end, you're going to end up dealing with the consequences of that lie. It's going to bring you down. And it's going to bring you down hard. Trust me, I've been down that road. I'm learning the hard way, just like you. We got to be careful. We cannot lie. Okay, let's try to say to the truth. Verse 23. The poor useth entreaties. The poor useth entreaties, but the rich answereth roughly. The proverb simply reports the ugly realities of the world. The last verse of 18, which is verse 24, says, A man that hath friends must shew himself friendly, and that is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Probably better, a man of too many friends will be broken in pieces. Indiscriminately chosen friends may bring trouble, But a genuine friend sticks with you through thick and thin. And that will conclude us for today. May God bless you and protect you. Heavenly Father, as we close here on Proverbs chapter 18, let's be reminded to use our words wisely. Help us grow and strengthen ourselves. Share the wisdom with others. By being an example, let's be the light and shine. Let's be the guiding light. It doesn't have to be a bright light. When it's pure blackness, when it's pure dark, a simple little light can light a whole room, a small little candle. It's amazing, Lord, that what little light that you gave us as to bring us to your faith and believing in you, Jesus, that you are able to guide us, to show us the right path, which is a very long and narrow, dangerous path to heaven, not the short, easy one to hell, but one that we need to follow. You are the light, Lord. We would not have found this path if it wasn't for you, Jesus, for giving up yourself up to death so that we may be saved, by shedding your blood to forgive our sins. Lord, let us try harder to not sin and follow in your footsteps and guide us and teach us. As I pray in your most glorious and holy name, amen. I wish you all a good day. I'm about to go to bed. I probably won't be up till about, well, I don't know. I may be up throughout the day and I may not. I know it's my birthday and I should be up, but as you get older, unfortunately, the grumpier you get. And trust me, I'm getting that way. My wife's starting to see it, and I'm trying to be nice and be that candle, that little shining light that Jesus wants us to be, and trying to help people best I can by being a better Christian myself. I'm at fault. I do things that I shouldn't be doing, and I'll admit it. As long as we're in flesh, we are always tempted by sin. And it's so easy because we're still of this world, living in this flesh. Instead of we're not in spirit form. We're not in heaven. So we are going to sin, unfortunately. All we can do is ask for forgiveness, and hopefully, and I believe that God will forgive us and still accept us as children and let us into heaven. So I will try to do another Bible study tomorrow. I know it's been over an hour, and I'm rambling still. I apologize. What do you expect from a 53-year-old man? Nothing but grumpiness. So, anyways, God bless. You have a good day. I'm going to love today. The high is going to be about 80 degrees. It's going to feel like home, which is Maine. I'm stuck here in Kansas. But it's 80-degree weather. It's going to feel so more comfortable to me than 102 degrees. So I'm really looking forward to today's temperatures. I'm not even going to turn on the AC. It's because it's going to be so nice. It's going to save me a lot of electricity. So until then, I hope I'll see you tonight. Don't forget, today we have live stream Bible. We have Wednesday evening Bible study and prayer group tonight at King. Excuse me. It's really early. It's too early in the morning for me. Over at Independence Bible Baptist Church, there is a Bible study and prayer group. Of course, for privacy, will not be airing the live Bible studies. But if you have any prayer requests, send it in, post it on my wall, or give me message me on Messenger, and I will make sure it gets mentioned to our prayer group to get into our prayer circle at the Independence Bible Baptist Church. Until then, you all have a good day. God bless. May God protect you.